I'm so glad you are here. This podcast offers a grateful twist on life's disruptions and hardest moments. I share powerful stories of women who face deep adversity, loss, illness, abuse, divorce, menopause, and more, and found resilience, strength, and transformation on the other side. Together, we'll explore how we found our way through, what supported our healing, and the moments that sparked new hope. These aren't just stories, they're lifelines for those still finding their way. You Are Here is a mission to uplift, connect, and remind women that they're never alone, even in their hardest chapters. Thanks for listening. I hope these stories speak to your heart and offer you strength for your journey. Kellie Grutko, known as the Spark Strategist, is a certified life coach and former marketing executive who helps accomplished women navigate midlife transitions with purpose and confidence. As founder and chief pivot officer of Purposeful Pivot, she draws on 30-plus years of leadership experience, including roles at Comcast Spotlight and Trane Technologies, to guide women from burnout to reinvention. Kellie blends strategic insight with heartfelt coaching through speaking, one-on-one support, and soon-to-come retreats. She's also a committed community leader, supporting causes like the American Cancer Society. Her mission to help women step boldly into their next chapter with clarity, courage, and sparkle. Hello, Kellie. How are you?
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you are here. And I think everybody is ready to hear your story.
I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania, and youngest of 6 kids. Because I was the youngest, I just was always wanting to achieve, improve myself as that young one. I did what I think a lot of people do is they climb the ladder and they go to college, they find a job, they climb the ladder, and they spend their whole careers and lives climbing up that ladder to just get more and more successful. And so that's what I did. But then one day I was an SVP of marketing at a Fortune 50 company, and I just left without a plan. You know, there was just something inside of me that, I don't know, I loved the company. I loved the people I work with, but there was something inside of me just holding me back, thinking the excitement of the job was just fading. And so I thought, all right, I'm older now. Maybe I need to climb down the ladder. So I thought it would be possible to climb down the ladder and just have a little less responsibility, make it a little easier on myself as I'm getting older, and found that that does not work, because then you're doing work that you don't know how to do because you had people do that for you. It was just much more tactical, and I was more of a visionary and strategic person. So I found you can't go down, you just can't go back in life. And so I started to rethink things, and I had really tried to figure out what I wanted to do next after I left that corporate job. And so I took another corporate job, but it just wasn't a right fit either. So I left there, and then I just started to struggle, because now who am I? For years, I had the title, I had the corner office, I had the awards, you had all of it. And you go to a party, you introduce yourself by your title, and all of a sudden that all went away. And that doesn't sound like a huge problem in life to have, but it really does mess with your identity and who you are and your self-confidence and self-esteem. And so all of that for me just started to tank. So what I started to do after I realized I was losing my rhythm and I was applying for jobs that I really didn't want, I just knew I didn't want them, but I thought that's what I should do. I started really just looking internally and realizing I didn't want to do marketing anymore. I didn't want to work for a large corporation anymore. And it took me a long time to just come to that realization. And so it wasn't until I met with a friend and we were both in this space, midlife space. You're kind of done with that whole huge ambition, trying to climb the ladder of life, and more so looking for purpose. And so I was talking to her about an old dream I had years ago. I don't even know how it came up, but it was I wanted to host my own TV show. And it was all about helping women when they're taking their vacation days to stay active instead of going, laying on a beach, eating, drinking, coming back feeling worse. I actually went and hired a production crew, and we went out to a big resort in Colorado, and I had them follow me around for a day, and I had scripted a whole day, a whole shoot, basically like a pilot that I was going to send off. And I just thought, okay, I'll send it off and get found and discovered. And clearly that didn't happen, or I'd be on TV right now. That whole dream started resurfacing again through our conversations. I thought, take the kind of TV part out of it. I wanted to help women make themselves better and feel good, and I wanted to have an impact on their lives. I like to travel, so I thought, all right, take the TV part out of it, and maybe I can host retreats and take women and help them find their purpose, and we'll travel, and I get to do the same thing. And so I started thinking about it. I had a couple focus groups because the marketer that I am always has to do my market research. And I remember one person telling me, that's great, but then you come back from the retreat and you forget everything you learned. And so that kind of led me to maybe I can coach these women afterwards so that they continue on the path of purpose or towards their goals. And then all of a sudden I had a mission now and I had a goal, and I went and I got certified to be a coach. And then I started a business, and then I started to build that confidence again. And it was like a whole new me. And it really just goes to show that you can go through a little bit of struggle, self-doubt, but if you take the blinders off of who you're supposed to be, and you think about what is it that interests me and what I would love to do, and you take away all the external barriers and things that are holding you back, and you free your mind to really just think outside the box, you can find your way. And so that led me to start my company, Purposeful Pivot, and it's trying to help women in the same space get through this faster than I did. So yeah, so now that's what I'm doing, and I found my mission, and now I'm just determined to help other women.
I love that.
Yeah.
There are a couple of really important things you said in there. The first one was you can't go back, right? We can't go backwards,
Yeah.
right? We have to keep our eyes on the road ahead and what we want to become. And you talked about you applied for jobs that you should.
Yeah.
And those are the boxes that keep us in. And I always think of the word should. And if somebody keeps telling me I should, I'm like, please stop shoulding on me.
Yeah.
That's one of my things. And a lot of times I should on myself, right?
Yeah.
More than other people should on me. That is definitely something that I think holds people back because we think we should be something, or, you know, somebody expects us to do something. That's the moment that everything cracks open. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think society puts us in a place too, right? You're
Yeah.
supposed to do this or that, or you graduated
Yes.
with this in college, so that's your whole entire future, or you
Right.
can't change. And so I think we get sucked into that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should get married, and then we should have a career, and then we should
Yep.
have a baby, and then we should buy a house.
Yep.
You know, there's this whole order of things. Definitely did everything backwards and twisted and inside out. I've created my own crazy path. And the other thing you spoke about that was great is I wouldn't call them failures, but the moments, the lessons, right? Thinking you were going one direction, but it was a necessary moment for you to be on the path to finding and discovering what was next. And we tell ourselves, I failed at that. And that's a dangerous place to work from. So I'm like, no, it's not a failure. It's a learning opportunity. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And I think when you're going through it, you don't realize it's a learning experience. I literally did that at least 15, 20 years ago. And how it just came back was I just freed my mind to get myself. I had marketing blinders on and thought, that's the only skill I have. I've been doing it 30 years. What else am I going to do? I'm not trained at anything else. And so it wasn't until I really took the blinders off and started thinking, well, what else would I want to do? I can always learn something new, that I started to look back and think about that dream that I had years ago. That really just morphed into what I'm doing now. But it took a while to get there. And I think people get caught in that space where this is all I'm capable of doing because I've been doing it for so long. And they're afraid to make a jump to something new. But you can always learn something new.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can learn something new. And I think we overlook the things from our past that have given us certain skill sets. Look back to the smaller jobs we may have had. Like, what did food and
Right.
beverage bring to the table for me? What did moving every 2 years bring for me? And so there's lots of little skill sets that were in my past that I noticed are something that I can bring forward now because they do inform who I am. And yeah, it's a good thing to look at and remember that we're always learning and hopefully always growing, right?
I think sometimes you just have to slow down to speed up. You just
Yes.
have to take your time and work your way through these things and be honest with yourself on what do you like, what do you not like. Try to figure out who do you want to surround yourself with and what kind of tasks do you want to do every day? What do you want your day to look like? Do you want to be in an office? Do you not want to be in an office? All those things come to play, and you have to really look at yourself and be honest with what's important to you.
And give yourself permission to do it, right? Because a lot of the thing that holds us back is ourselves. So sometimes we just need to be, or I always say, this is your formal invitation to get on with it or do something new. So give yourself permission to do those things.
I love that.
Yeah. And slowing down to speed up is a great term. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what you do now. So what has that turned into now?
Yeah. Going through this experience, I know it's not like a major trauma in life, or I know a lot of people, you've talked to a lot of women with a lot of things that they've gone through in their lives, and I commend all of them for going through things and learning themselves. So this is a different one where I feel like it's a lot of identity, a lot of fear of trying the unknown. So through my business, Purposeful Pivot, I get women to get through this process of getting past the fear, finding out who you are without your job title, because that's a big one. A lot of times that's all you know. I remember I went to a party and everybody would be like, oh, so what do you do? And I didn't have an answer. And that threw me for a loop for a long time. So you have to get past that. And so I try to get women through this process a lot faster, help them create action plans for what their next phase of life can be. I work with midlife women that are going through this because the more women I talk to, the more of them are going through this. And I feel like it's a movement for women right now. I feel that everyone's feeling the freedom to try new things and do their own thing and step away from those custom roles that they always had. My goal is to help them to get through it. I'll do one-on-one coaching. I'm looking to start a group coaching collective next year in 2026. For a group, because I know a lot of times it helps to be with a group of women that are going through the same thing. And then retreats as well, because that's where I started. So I want to include that because I think they are powerful when you do it in the right way. And so I'm just I do a number of different workshops and webinars and really just trying to give pieces of advice and information to women that can help them get through this stage. Yeah. So it's rewarding women, and all of a sudden they have that aha moment that you helped them get to. And so I find that very rewarding. So that's been my goal for a little while now.
I love that. Supporting and helping women is part of my mission too. And helping women, showing up for women, that's an important part of the conversation because there's a connection that happens when you talk to other women, right? We sort of dive in a little deeper when we're together and can ask the questions and bounce ideas off of each other. So the more we help women rise, the more we get lifted. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I love that was a struggle for you. And it's a struggle for a lot of people. A couple of years ago, I tried to come and be in LA. At first, I thought of it as a failure. Am I going to just tuck my tail between my legs and go home? And then I realized, no, that's not what I'm doing. I learned a lot. And I'm going to go home and figure out what's next for me. And this summer, suddenly found myself able to move to LA part-time. And I've been going back to Charleston monthly to work and trying to build my business here too. But it was this surprising moment in June where I was like, I just recreated my business in a way that allows this for me now. And I wasn't expecting it, And so it was this moment of, whoa. I think I just set myself up for this a little bit unconsciously. Like I knew that was always my goal, but I wasn't concentrating on that. I was concentrating on my business and how to restructure it and how that would work. And when I put a few key things into place, it was just like, whew, wow.
I think when you open your mind, those
Yeah.
surprises, you let the surprises in. And if you
Yeah.
welcome them in
Yeah.
and don't just shut them out, it's
Yeah.
amazing things can happen for
Yeah.
sure.
Keep showing up even in the struggle. It was hard. I had just gotten divorced and my life was financial wreckage and I was trying to recover from all that. And so I just dug more into pouring into women because I'm sure that women don't find themselves in the same situation. But by helping them grow their businesses, helps them get to that place because that was important to me. Even if we do have supporting partners, we still need to keep our financial independence. Never know. Maybe death, maybe illness, whatever.
Sure.
There's a million things that life can throw at you. It's better to be a little bit more prepared than I felt like in that moment where I was just like, oh, the sky is falling. And you have to trust and lean in.
And I love that you're passing it forward, what you've learned to help other women get through. I think that's what a lot of women are doing now. You take what you've gone through and what you learned, and you try to share it with others so that they get through it in a better way than we did. So I think whenever you can pass it forward and help somebody, I just see a lot of women doing that now. I think so many women are becoming cheerleaders for other women, and it's just a nice movement or whatever you want to call it. I just feel like something's happening at this stage of life, maybe, when you realize that we've kind of done a lot of hard things, and now let's try to help each other get through other hard things and make the most of life at this stage. So, people talk about, gosh, like your teenage years and adolescence and how there's so much going on and everything's transitioning. And I got to tell you, I think women's middle age is many more transitions, through careers and families or empty nest or aging parents or menopause, you name it. We have a lot we go through. And I don't think we give ourselves credit for getting through a lot of these things.
Yes, I constantly try to remind my friends, give yourself grace. And I try to remind myself when I'm beating up on myself, okay, stop, give yourself grace. There's a lot going on.
Exactly.
At the same time, it's true.
Yeah.
Because we're the heavy lifters in the family, right? So when the kids leave, we're the ones that sort of bear the brunt of that. Everything just shifted. And menopause.
We could do a whole show on that one.
Oh my God. I know that's another podcast. That is on earth. Ask me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
How do you
know.
get
And
that,
it's
do
just
that
wild.
gracefully when you're like bursting out of sweat, you're dripping. Sorry. I'm like, I need to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't feel very
Oh, God, too funny.
Yeah.
I know. And I've been doing all kinds of research on neuroscience of the brain, and just, I don't know, I'm geeking out on the science, but it does say that there's statistics, something like 80% of midlife women redefine what success means to them. Success is completely different than what it used to be when you're in your 30s, 40s, whatever. And so I feel this is really just an exciting time for women because we're redefining things and making the most of our lives at this stage. We worked so hard to get here that now we have the right to choose our next steps. And I love having the choice and making sure women realize they have the choice to do what they want to do.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. We said. Yeah. I call it this is the time of the women or the year of the woman. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's the decade, maybe the century of the woman, hopefully. Because it's going to take our skills, right? To really get the world through what's going on right now. And it's going to take a lot of nurturing and healing and processing. And we do that pretty good.
We do. And it's not to say men don't go through all this too, and identity and all that, because they do. But I just feel women can create communities much easier. And it's easier for us to talk about our emotions and what we're going through. I think this stage is definitely a time where you're supposed to lean in on your friends and family and other women and create communities so that you can get support during this time.
Absolutely. Community is everything. That's really success for me right now, is like having a really powerful community that I can turn to, lean on. That's probably the most beautiful thing in my life right now, is the communities that I have around me. And so, I'm constantly grateful for the spaces and the containers that those communities live in.
Yeah. I think I have more friends now than I did in my 20s and 30s because you were so career oriented or family oriented or whatever it was that you didn't have time for friends or community. And so I just feel, now I think I have more friends than I ever have. And it's just nice. It's a nice time.
It really is. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
anything else you wanted to share?
I think if I was to give advice to anyone kind of going through the same thing that I was going through, it would really be to just eliminate the barriers that you put around yourself. I'm talking to a couple women right now, and it's all about money, or they've been at the same company for 30 years and they can't get themselves out of that. I always talk to them and I say, all right, take everything out of the picture. Take the money out, the stress of money, take the stress of family out, take it all out and just pretend you're starting from scratch. And what would you want to do? And now, obviously, you will never ignore all those things, but to get yourself to think creatively, I think you do. You need to just put it out of your mind for a while so you can dream. Because I think sometimes that's the problem. We don't dream anymore. We just go with the flow. So my advice is really try to think outside of the norm and maybe look back when you were a kid and what did you like to do? Or maybe it was if you were at work and you liked a project and didn't get to work on it very often, but you really liked it, look at those skills and see what you were using. So I think there's many ways to get there, but I think sometimes we just get so caught up in life that we don't take the time to really think of what we might enjoy. So really taking time for
We're too
yourself.
busy doing sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
constantly reminded we're supposed to be humans being, but we're a lot of humans doing, chasing it and overwhelmed by it and anxious by it. And I think that's slowing down to speed up. Take a moment for yourself. Take some time for yourself and let yourself daydream. Sit on the couch and don't turn on the TV and see what happens. Let your mind wander or journal or whatever. And the other thing is funny that you talked about was like people would ask you what you do. And I think that question is the most uninteresting question to ask someone. What they do is not who they are. And
Exactly.
I want to know what they do when they're not at work. I've been in communities, like I'm a surfer and I'm a salsa dancer. And in those communities, sometimes it takes me years to discover what somebody does. I'm like, oh my God, really? You do that?
Yeah.
You have those kinds of conversations. And there's such a diverse group. Both of those spaces are really diverse in terms of age range and socioeconomics, and surfing's finally becoming more racially diverse, but especially in the salsa community. And you get all shapes and sizes and colors, and some people have money and some people are struggling to get by, and it doesn't matter. Like, we're just there to have fun. Dancing is one of the best things you can do for your mental health, right? So that's why I love it. It's something I try to do because it does bring me so much joy and I have so much fun and the people are amazing.
Good for you. Well, I think some people have trouble stepping aside from that corporate kind of identity. And I know I struggled with that for a long time. It's not till you hear people say that over and over again, you are not your job. There's so much more to you. And you really need to separate yourself from your job. That's just what you do, not who you are. And so I think sometimes people struggle with that and trying to find out what they do. I try everything. I had one woman I was working with and she recently retired. She was a teacher. And so she was doing everything because she was so afraid of becoming invisible that she just was doing everything. She was taking cooking classes and language courses and coaching certifications. And then she got herself so overwhelmed because she was just doing everything. And then finally we worked together and she realized that she enjoyed writing. And so she started writing, telling her, why don't you write something every night? Just write something little. It could be in your journal. It could be a blog, whatever it is. And she started slowly but surely putting articles on Substack, which is the creators platform.
Yeah, I love Substack.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, like people are subscribing to her channel. And I told her, I'm like, well, look now, you're a writer. Like people are reading your stuff. You've done it. Yeah. So she was able to let go of all the other stuff that was overwhelming her because she finally found her calling or what she enjoyed. So I think you can try a little bit of everything and see what you really enjoy to find your passion.
Yeah. That's how I discovered photography, actually. I had been a dancer in my young life and went to college for dance, but dropped out after my first year because I didn't want to be a dancer. My dad wanted me to keep going to college, and I was like, let's be clear, I'm just drinking. I'm not getting an education here. And so I decided to wait until I knew what I wanted to do. And a couple years later, I found myself, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? You got to do something. You can't be in food and bev forever.
Yeah.
And I started taking a class every semester at Boston College because I was in Boston at the time. But I didn't care about credits. I just wanted to discover what I liked. So the first semester, I think I took logic and I really liked it. It's a philosophy class, but it's more mathematical than talking about the great philosophers. And then I took an astronomy class, which was amazing right up until we started studying quantum physics. And I was like, okay, it was really great to see Saturn and everything out of the telescope on the top of the building, but I'm dipping out at quantum physics.
Yeah.
And then the next semester, I took photography and I fell in love. And that was it. I was done. Like,
good
just
for you.
put a fork in me, I'm done. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
And went on to get my MFA. But yeah.
That's awesome.
So I do think there's just try things. Try anything. Try anything that piques your interest. Like it, then tap out. Okay, that's not it. Okay, let's go try something else.
Yeah. Gotta know your limits too. I wanted to be a meteorologist and it was so much math. I'm like, yep, I'm out of that one.
Yeah, I was like, quantum physics?
I know.
I'm smart, but not that smart.
Exactly. So you do have to know your limits. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Wow.
So I have a question to what you were saying. Get to know what your barriers are. So how would someone, because a lot of times we don't know how we get in our own way. So how would someone go about doing that?
Yeah. And I think that's where working with a coach can be helpful because they can really pull it out of you because sometimes it is hard to find your way. But like I said, there's a lot of introspection, asking yourself the right questions of, what do you like? What do you not like? What am I good at? What am I not good at? And sometimes it's just starting from scratch. If you could start all over and learn anything and there's nothing holding you back, what would it be? And, you're like, in my case, it was, okay, I'm not a marketer anymore. Let's just pretend I never was. Let's start all over. What would you do? And so, you have to take your own labels off yourself because I think sometimes other people put labels on us, but we do it ourselves a lot. So you really have to, a lot of it's internal work that you really just need to look inside and take some of those labels off that you put on yourself. Because you think, oh, I can only succeed if I do it this way. Well, there's so many ways. Go and look at things that interest you and go watch influencers on social media or take a class or volunteer. And like I said, try different things till you realize there's some other things out there in the world that might work for you too. So I think it's a lot of kind of, what's that phrase? Think, feel, do. Think, feel, try it on and then do. Right. Try things on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And get out of the shoulds, right? What should I be doing? Right. And I do think, like, I go back to when I was younger and my dad wanted me to be a lawyer. And I do think I would have been a good lawyer and I would have been a good therapist. And I have sometimes thought, maybe I should get my law degree. And at my age, I'm 55, but I still think it doesn't matter how old you are. I don't care if you're 65 or 75. If you feel like I want to go do this, go do it. If it's a dream, if it's something that you think you would enjoy, try it.
Yeah. Look, we might have 30, 40, 50 years left. Who knows? God willing. Yes. But do you want to live those last 30 years like doing something that you just don't enjoy? Or do you want to give something a try and go do it? You've worked your whole way and now it's time to choose. And you get to pick which way you want to go. And so you need to give yourself the freedom to make those choices. Yeah.
I love that you did that because I think I put out a post recently that was like, quit that job you hate. Yeah. You have to give yourself permission to okay, I don't want to do this anymore for another 40 years. I do. I would, I will photograph until somebody, as long as it's me, I'll walk in with my cane if I have to, as long as they'll have me. Yeah. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people who, if you ask them, would you do this for the next 40 years? Probably they would say, God, I hope. Well, if that's your
Yeah.
answer, then
Time to move.
time to start churning the pot and see what comes up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think people let fear hold them back, which I get.
Yeah.
Clearly, I was afraid to do anything new. So I stayed and tried to work my way down a ladder. And yeah, I think fear stops you. If I was afraid, what are all these people going to think of me? I was this executive marketing person and now I'm a coach. People are going to look at me and think, what did you just do? You totally changed careers. What are you thinking? And you get to the point where I don't care what other people think. I just want to do what I want to do. But sometimes that's hard. You got to really get inside your mind and kind of talk your way through that because it can be a hard thing to do. Yeah.
Fear is a big one. I agree with you on that. And I heard somebody say recently, fear is an inch deep and a mile wide. So dive in.
Yeah.
There's nothing really there. And if there is something that's talking to you, right? The little message that's coming in, oh, you won't make enough money, blah, 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 whatever it is, just sit it down and have a conversation with it. Oh,
Yeah.
Because I get the little fear demons coming in and I'm like, what you got to say to me? And then when you go, okay, I understand why you think that because of these things, and I tell you why that's not true anymore. I'm going to deal with that. And once you quiet them down, they go away.
Yeah.
You stand up for yourself, they go, oh, okay, she's not going to buy into this anymore.
She's not listening.
Because, fear is really for whether you're going to be killed or something bad's about to happen to you. That you need fear. We don't need it like we used to, but it still sticks around. It's so unnecessary. It's a facade.
Yeah.
As somebody said, there's a bunch of acronyms for fear, the bad ones, right? So them is fuck everything and run, which I used to do in my 20s and probably 30s. And then the best one is though, face everything and rise.
Oh, I love that.
You're feeling fear, just face it.
Yeah.
Lean
or turn
into
it around. Turn it around and think, I'm fearful of not living my best life from this point on. Use it to a positive. Be afraid of not living. And so go do it. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that though. I got to remember that.
I love that. You gave some great advice to people today.
If I can help anyone kind of get through this weird transitional phase faster than I did, that's what I'm here for.
I'm going to put all your information in some notes that'll go along with this podcast so they can find you.
Thanks for having me. This was a joy. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Same.
All right. Okay. See ya.